Okay, I think we're ready. Hi, welcome to our class, Missional Liturgy. It's a silly thing for me. I don't know, I'm really struggling with this term missional. There are like 90 different definitions of it. We're going to begin the class by talking about liturgy and defining that. And I'm going to be working under the assumption that by the end of the term, we will have some clue what missional means. You can see by the course description that I assume that missional liturgy means essentially that liturgy, the Christian practice, is somehow larger a category of Christian practice, is a larger practice than simply what happens on Sunday morning or Wednesday night. But we're going to get there. My name is Trip Hudgens. I'm your instructor. I am Director of Admissions here at the American Baptist Seminary of the West, and I am working on a PhD in liturgy and ethnomusicology through Cal and the GTU. So this is a great class for me. I taught this as a Newhall with Kalia Jelks-Williams a year ago. It went really well. Kalia is now at Columbia Seminary working out there in Atlanta. So I am here doing this solo. We had a great time last time we did this. It was a ton of fun. What I learned in that, though, is that this is a class that can be taught again and again and again because the definitions keep shifting and culture keeps shifting, and suddenly we're talking about protest liturgies in Ferguson, Missouri. And so I want to come back to this subject. What is liturgy, right? So anyway, so I'm doing things a little bit differently than a year ago, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to be doing this with you. So first, the books. You'll need 3 books. There are 3 books I really want you to buy and keep on your shelf. Hopefully they will prove to be useful to you for a while. Transforming Mission. This is the 20th anniversary edition of Daniel Bosch's book. An African theologian, white African theologian, asking really hard questions about the nature of evangelism and mission. It is a long book. You will not have to read all of it. You will not be required to read all of it. But this is the 20th anniversary edition. This is the foundational book for any contemporary theology of mission or evangelism. And he's very keen on what liturgy does. What happens when liturgy is performed in English in a culture whose native language is not English? Are we imparting something of the English-speaking culture in our liturgies into these existing cultures? We don't actually simply impart Christianity when we teach people our liturgies. We also impart our own cultural location. This is true whether it's the ministry or mission field to another country, or from the suburbs to the inner city, or the inner city to the suburbs, right? So Bosch is trying to answer a bunch of questions, and he wants to say that mission itself is the church, and the church itself is mission, and both of these things are liturgical. Should be fun. Ruth Myers, there you go. Missional worship, worshipful mission. Gathering as God's people, going out in God's name. Ruth is a teacher here at the GTU. She's at the Church Divinity School of the Pacific. This book came out between the teaching of this class and the last time I taught this class. The last time I taught this class, we had a really lovely interview with her, and she had written an essay that was sort of the cornerstone of this book. So now the book is out. You're going to read all the book. It's an easy read. I know some of you have actually gotten ahead, which is great, and you've been reading. We'll be spending a lot of time with this in the first part because I think she breaks down a helpful definition of what liturgy actually is, how we can get to it, and its relationship with mission. She'll talk about a Mobius strip and all sorts of cool things. Good contemporary scholarship on the relationship between liturgy and mission and how we as a class can kind of wrap our brains around what's going on. This is one of my favorite books. If for no other reason than Ralph Watkins gives credence to what people say that they are doing. There's debate, for example, in the church around whether or not hip-hop can be Christian. Some people think it's impossible for it to be Christian, and others say if Christians are making hip-hop, then we have Christian hip-hop. Ralph is saying that the category Christian hip-hop is actually not really helpful, and that, of course, it's Christian in the sense. People are standing in the streets as prophetic witnesses to injustice. They're invoking the name of the divine. They may do it with their pants hanging down around their hips. They may do it with profanity. They may do it wearing tattoos and cigarettes hanging out their mouths. And we can discuss how clean and pious and virtuous these people are all day long. But that doesn't mean what they're saying isn't gospel truth, right? Isn't actually prophetic witness. Hip-hop redemption. He's trying to redeem hip-hop for the church, but he's also talking about hip-hop as a redemptive practice. We're going to get this later in the semester, but this is sort of, I wanted to show you this one. I wanted you to have this one because whether it was the blues or rock and roll or, believe it or not, what we think of as musty-dusty hymns from the 18th century, a lot of those musicians as well were told that their music was too lively and encouraged dancing and the moving of feet and couldn't possibly be Christian. So when you sing Isaac Watts, you are, in a sense, singing the music of the hip-hop generation of his era. He was trying to invoke something or evoke something. He was trying to get people excited and moving in church, and he was kicked out of his church for it. So